Hey, this is Jack from Alpha Charts with a long view video. Today is January 22nd, 2023. Before we get started, this video is for informational purposes only. These are not recommendations to buy, sell, or hold any stock or security, and I may hold positions in some of the equities mentioned. Know your time frame and risk tolerance. Okay, so this is a long view video. Let's go. Weekly charts. Not exactly, but pretty close to 50-day and 200-day moving average. And so we are now going to go through the United States. We're going to go through sectors within the United States, and then we're going to go through the rest of the world. And we're going to try to figure out what is bullish, what is bearish, and what is neither, right? At the end, I may go through some individual mega cap names, which are just the largest names I could find, right? By cap weighting. So how are we going to decide if it's performing or outperforming? So I think crossing of these moving averages, I think that's going to be the easiest way. So basically, if price is above and these moving averages are crossing higher and price above them, I'm going to say that is an outperforming and something that we want to focus on, right? Leading the market versus something that looks like S&P, where things are not crossing, right? They're not leading the market, right? So when we look at the rest of the world, ACWX minus the S&P, we already have the cross and going higher. To me, the rest of the world versus the SPY is leading because they have a much different look to these charts. Okay, so that's how we're going to define it. That's how I'm going to define it. This is actually my second take at this video. The first one I messed it up and it didn't record correctly. So I've seen these charts already, so we're going to go through it quickly, right? But I think it's definitely an exercise that's worth doing. Again, our goal here is leading, not leading. That's it. So it's either leading or neutral. I'm sorry, it's either not leading or neutral versus leading, right? Because all we care about is leading. So start SPY, not leading, right? QQQ, obviously not leading. MDY, mid caps. All right, so mid caps to me are leading. So in the United States, mid caps seem like they're doing pretty good, right? Let's look at IWM, small caps. Small caps, not leading, no cross. Okay, so I mean, it's literally that simple. There's more to it. You may say this is bottoming, and maybe this eventually does lead, but as of right now, it's not. And I think that we have to go with what we see right now. All right, so that's on the index level. I also want to do on the sector level because I think there's a lot of value in that as well. Because if we're going to have some home country bias, and if you're based in the United States, you have home country bias, and we've done well for a long time. But there could be sectors within, even though the United States is not leading, sectors within there that could be leading. So let's go through all the sectors. There's 9 of them, right? So it's not that bad. 4, 6, 8. 10, 11. I'm sorry, 11 of them. There's 11 sectors. It's not that long. So let's go through it. Enough talking. XLE. All right, so XLE we can easily say is leading. So right now we have the MDY and we have the XLE. Right? I don't care what you say about this. This is a leading sector. It has not broken down. It's above all. The cross was way back here. Looks great. XLF. So XLF, technically, we have to put this as leading, even though it really hasn't broken out yet, because it satisfies our requirements. Basically, we have the cross, we have price above it, and actually this may lead, right? It has a beautiful looking, whether you want to call this a double bottom, or whatever you want to call it, has a very nice looking pattern going on here on the weekly chart, and on the daily it's even more pronounced. So I think XLF is worth it to write down at this point, right? It satisfies our requirements. XLI. So XLI is not above the 50-day right here, right? It's technically below this 50-day on the weekly, which is close. It's actually the 9-week moving average what I have here, but close enough. Point is it's below it with the parameters I set up, and And so I'm leaving XLI off. It's showing some weakness now. That could change in a week or 2 weeks, but right now, not happening. XLK, yeah, no way that that's happening at this point. XLV. So XLV is kind of a sloppy mess, and now it's been below this moving average for 3 weeks. So definitely off the radar. It was doing okay, but off the radar. XLY, again, nothing to see there. XLC, yeah, again, this revision trade is happening right now, and it's been pretty strong beginning of the year. Maybe it continues, maybe it doesn't, but definitely not a leader, not yet. And there's XLU, right? Again, nothing to see there. And then there's XLP, right? Nothing to see there. XLB, XLB, something to see, right? This is what we're looking for. There's your cross. There is your leadership. So we're going to do XLB, write that down. And then XLRE. Nothing to see there. So we have mid caps, we have energy, financials, materials. That's what is right now working in the US, which is leading, period. As we said, ACWX, looking around the world, we're real interested in other options. Again, you can see that this is already crossed with price above it. So what is working? And listen, this has been working for a while, right? Everything outside the US. So let's look at Europe. FEZ will be a proxy for that. And you can see that FEZ is absolutely working, right? Looks fantastic. Within Europe, again, there's going to be some variation, like EWG is Germany. That one's working. I'm not going to write down each individual one. Let's see what else is a good one here. Let's look at Poland, EPOL. That one's working, right? So a lot are working. Spain, EWP, working. EWU is UK, working, right? EWL, Switzerland, about to start working. I mean, technically not yet, but it's there. So a lot of these, EWQ is France. Let's see, France working. So you see, it's working, right? And so FEZ is a great proxy, I think, or at least a pretty good proxy for that trade. So FEZ is working. India, INDA. I mean, it wants to start working. Looks a lot like the US, in my opinion, but it's not working quite yet. China, MCHI. China's been really hot this year, but it had fallen so far that even though it's really hot, it hasn't even crossed yet. Price is above it. So in a week or two, if it can maybe pull back, right, a little bit and then set up again, right, you can have a legitimate, beautiful base forming here. It's just not there yet. So it's definitely something to watch. But again, it does not satisfy my criteria. ILF, this is South America or Latin America. Nope, ain't happening. So let's look at within Latin America, though, I guess maybe Central America. You have Mexico, which I have to mention. Mexico looks absolutely fantastic. Big base on the weekly, right? And again, it's a little extended, but if this may be able to break out, getting above 58, 57, 58, that would be very, very bullish. So I wanted to mention Mexico in there because it definitely stood out in that respect. What else we have? Australia, EWA. Get that, EWA. So here's Australia, and you have the cross, you have price above it. EWA works, fits our narrative as a leader, potential leader. What else do we have here? After EWA comes Canada. Let's look at Canada. Here's Canada. That does not work, which is kind of surprising because they have such, oil, minerals and oil and gas, all that kind of stuff, but it's just not working. What else do we have? This is Japan, EWJ. So that's about to work. It's gonna one more week if its price stays above here. It looks pretty good. but I would say it's not crossed yet. I cannot put it on the list as a leadership group yet, even though I do like this breakout that seems like it's happening. Not on my leadership group. EIS is next. EIS. Israel, not looking that good. Africa, AFK. Again, Africa, not looking good. And then just look at frontier markets in general. Again, not looking great. Okay. So looking around the world, Europe is looking really good, right? FEZ, Eurostoxx 50. Mexico, looking great. Fantastic. And then Australia, looking really good. All right. So there we go. Around the world, what is leading? I think those are the leaders. Let us go into I'm going to just switch my screen over here, and I'm just going to pull up by market cap, the largest market caps, and let's look. And we're going to look to see, again, what sector they're in compared to what we're seeing, right? So under the surface now, if we're seeing a US tech name, well, we're going to expect it to not look good. Consumer discretionary probably doesn't look good. Whereas, a materials name, energy name, a financial name may look okay. Maybe even an industrial name, right? May look okay. Now, if it's outside the United States and the European name, we would expect it to look good, okay? So that's my idea coming into this. Let's see what it says. Again, we're going by market cap straight down. So, of course, Apple's first. So here's Apple. Again, not looking good, right? Technology, Microsoft, not looking good. Google, now it had some recent strength, but not enough for it to look good. And as expected, it doesn't look good. Amazon, consumer discretionary, not looking good. Now, Berkshire Hathaway, I would expect it to look good. And it actually is on the cusp of looking good, right? It's a conglomerate, so there's a lot going on there, but it looks better. ExxonMobil, I would expect it to look good. It looks great, right? I mean, great trade to be in for a long time now. Visa, it's a technology stock, hasn't crossed yet. So again, I would say not leading, if anything else. United Healthcare. Again, we saw how healthcare looked like crap, and United Healthcare being the biggest piece of the XLV is breaking down, not where you want to be. Johnson & Johnson, healthcare, probably not what you want to be. No, that's not where you want to be, right? Now, Taiwan Semiconductors is next, TSM. Now, so this one is in the technology sector, but it's in Taiwan. What does it look like? It's improving, but again, not where you want to be. NVIDIA, right? A microchip name, US-based. Again, not leading, at least not yet, right? Again, a few more weeks it may need, and then maybe it is a leader, but I don't see it leading yet. Tesla, consumer discretionary, definitely not leading. JP Morgan, right? Financials were doing good. It's on the list. Let's see what JP Morgan looks like. JP Morgan looks pretty good overall, right? It's above the cross, and the cross happened a long time ago. So that looks good. Walmart, consumer staple-ish, discretionary, I guess. Not looking good at all. Meta, technology, not looking good, even though we've had some mean reversion. MasterCard, probably gonna look just like Visa. MasterCard looks okay. Yeah, I mean, it looks good, actually. I shouldn't say okay. MasterCard looks pretty good, near all-time highs. Just look at Visa real fast. Here's Visa. Looks very similar to MasterCard, right? So those look good. Chevron, CVX, I'm expecting this to be great looking, and it is good looking. Exxon looks a little bit better, but they both look really good. And Procter & Gamble, consumer staples, again, it has a cross, but now price has fallen right below it. So I would say not looking good. Let's keep going. A few more here. Eli Lilly is next. So Lilly in the healthcare sector, below, it has a cross, but now it's below one of them. So maybe some questionable activity in there. Home Depot, consumer discretionary. So again, starting to break down. It could reverse right next week and then change my mood on this, but in the end, it looks meh. Alibaba, Chinese name, obviously. has the cross, looking good, way out ahead, probably extended at this point, but looks really, really good. Merck, again, back to healthcare. Again, got really ahead of itself and just looks extended. So not looking good again with the healthcare idea. Bank of America. Now, financials were doing good. JP Morgan was doing good. Yet Bank of America looks not good, right? So even within the banks, you have to be selective on what you're looking for. That's kind of surprising, but it is what it is, right? We don't make this stuff up. AbbVie. Now, AbbVie is USA based, again, breaking down as expected. Coca-Cola, Staples, breaking down. ASML is a Netherlands chip maker, and it is holding up really nice. So you see how technology outside the US, which US has a big stranglehold on a lot of technology names, but there are outside the US, is actually doing okay, right? Taiwan Semiconductors, ASML, those chip names are doing really good. And back to the United States with Pfizer, breaking down. Now Novo Nordisk is next. They're based out of Denmark, and they're doing very well. Almost looks extended at this point, but doing very, very well. Toyota, TM, Japanese name. And Japan was not on our list, so that's fine. Not on our list. And again, it doesn't look that great. Broadcom, AVGO, not expecting much from this one. Okay, but it's holding up okay. So if you want to look for a chip name in the US, maybe Broadcom. Again, the sector really isn't leading, but it is what it is. Pepsi, I guess would be, it looks a lot like Coke. Yep, breaking down. Oracle, ORCL. It's a software name. Looks better than most. Something to take note of. Thermo Fisher, it is in the healthcare sector. Doing okay. So maybe the scientific instruments are doing okay, right? That's what this is kind of telling us. Next up is Novartis. There's only a few more left here. If you've hung out with me this far, Novartis, it's a Swiss name. Doing well. There's a cross. Looks really good. AstraZeneca, that's United Kingdom. There's your cross. Doing really good. Costco Wholesale, more of a staple, I believe they're in. Kind of breaking down. Doesn't look great, Costco Wholesale, right? And the last one is Shell, UK energy name. Looking pretty good overall, right? Nice uptrend. So there we go. So we went over all the components of the in the index side of the US, every sector. Then we went around the world, looked at everybody but the US in the ACWX, which was our base case, right? That we're actually, it's got to look like this for us to say that it's outperforming. And we found a few sectors that look that way in the US. We like the mid caps, right? You got to be in the US on the index level. Mid caps are the way to go. They look really good. Specifically, energy is looking good currently. Financials are looking pretty good, even though we did see a little bit of a mixed bag. But this looks like it wants to go higher, right? I mean, especially if they could get above, 36 and a quarter. Right, and they're right there at 35, right? They get above 36 and a quarter. I think financials can move, and then of course materials, XLB looks really good as well. And a lot of those names, by the way, are all very rate sensitive names in area sectors, so that kind of makes sense. Outside the United States, there was three highlights. I mean, Europe looked phenomenal, right? I mean, we love Europe right there. Mexico looked really, really good, right? Let's just zoom out here. Mexico's looking really good. And then the last one will be Australia, right? Australia overall looks really good. There's your cross, price above it, moving higher. Okay, so all that means, I don't know, take what you want from that, but maybe the US isn't the best, or at least the only place to park your money in this current environment. But if you do have to park it here, let's go with mid caps, rate sensitive areas, energy, financials, materials. but look to Europe, look to Mexico, look to Australia for other places for relative strength. Hope this was helpful. I know it helps clarify for me places I want to put my money, and again, take it for what it's worth, and go from there. Anyway, let me know what you guys think. I would love to see your comments below. Please, I really do. I read them all, and I appreciate them. So go ahead and do that, and I hope you all have a great day. Bye.